Hello, Alyssa Milano. You're a very intelligent woman, strong woman, and I appreciate your care for women because I care about women and each age of them recorded forced her through time. The same way forced with color, left entrenched by our founders to demonstrate by a racketeering method even worse than that. And that's what's of value to demonstrate that. Actually recorded organized crime racketeering method. So we have uses of like opinions blaming it on things like racism that are preventing discernment. For example, when you entertain laws like that, when you entertain and value private uncharged racketeering roles, all you got a whole bunch of nations of liars and lie progressions, and then people needing to hide those lie progressions is more and more per crime method that is affecting everyone needing to defend themselves by hurting others with fact treatment nature tricks, valuing being able to get over on people by making debate sustained the word slash value maintain uses by the same racketeering method using black and white since before our and that was black and white agencies, and not by accident that simultaneously was never let voice. And if you try to voice that, there already was vertical and horizontal database solution stacking tied to all kinds of natures of racketeering with the Justice Department, with the Pentagon, originally and still left criminally foreign influence for our founding fathers to have this demonstrated. But we don't have free speech. We have sequence racketeering methods, nature's rackets and rolls. They walk into the courts, they're lying about your behavior. They already have the courts attached to faking recorded. They have whole crime methods of courts, sicker than most overt criminal enterprises, recorded categorically as sequentially crime acting with them through time. Now they only perceive it, their roles with it. That's just, it's a perfect world. We have to do that because we have to hide line progressions because we have a whole bunch of nation shared policing on and off campuses. See, we have justice. Our Justice Department is conformed to what is unity only as criminal and only as a means to keep the identity of each modern nation valued as an identity other than the one that really has us bonded as a species. Every individual grouped, sex, age, area, bonded group, species, nature, or volume. Being an individual is in nature or volume. As a complete identity of value slash value progression, it is simultaneously as an unceasing semi-nature that has this value simultaneously invisible but still discernible attached to us. So I'm not trying to debate things. I'm trying to show the evidences, but those evidences are being prevented for evidences racketeering originally and still offensively preventing us free speech. And the more we try to have it, if you make it proper, sequence true, inherent, active, and progressive true, a little bit further. That's where prayer is science, no matter what. In other words, the English is not the 26 sounds of the English language have an identity of relationships to themselves. They have an identity. They have an identity of relationship to themselves, and they have the value of that, which has temporary positive. It is as temporary slash lasting positive or negative. And as what is the value as here, A through W, which is our control of what we don't have control over, as the value of X, Y, and Z. And see, we're either completely the value of Z as temporary positive, its identity, the one we are semi-nature in relationship to the complete nature of itself, self-generating. Yin yang only feels it is inseparable. Alpha can be pulled from this. So where alpha is separated, the value of Romulus and Remus is inherent nature of volume, and Adam and Eve are two other semi-natures as the progressive nature of volume. See, Adam alpha before, while being the value of physics and beyond that, is an identity of relationship to itself, which is an identity of relationship to the nature we are value is. No matter, it doesn't matter if you're a female or a male. You have alpha and omega in a trinity, and its semi-nature relationship to those two parts of where we are. Now, what's the difference of why is there the physical difference? Why are there physical sexes? Because this is how the simultaneous nature is in demonstration of it, of the Trinity, and of the value of its complete identity of relationship to itself. In that and how and where and why, and we're in an unceasing nature of volume that is increasing, as in forever nature. So water interacts, has different properties, nature than soil, but they're both space. Like the different parts of our bodies are different natures, interaction with themselves and with the rest of our body, but they're all our identity. This is in demonstration of the identity that all things share at once. So they have women taken to a positions and with fact treatment nature quality that is told practical. And then they're going to be defending that as sensibilities in relationship to what is exploited that way. Each identity of the ground location, everyone's speaking through other people. And this is each age of fact treatment nature forsaken simultaneously, sickly, distinctly. Effectively having maintained it, not discerned how sickly, non-distinctly we're hurt. And not only that, originally and still, everyone blamed all the negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures facilitated and covered up and forced self-value, blamed all the things others themselves, acts like predicate acts, natures like wrongdoers, criminal and seditious natures. So you have these movements against, they have these grassroots methods, roles with the government, with their needs to pretend to be positive offensively now, to originally still, to pretend to perceive things offensively and to be faking, receiving things, recording things wrong purposely, faking recorded things into the databases, preventing mandated law and pretending other originally and still. So they need to, they have recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They have reforms of everything, movements in collusion with the racketeering that is from off the campuses associated with this, all natures of campuses, interbranch, individually grouped and together, crime methods, each individual grouped and together of each branch, grouped executive branch, judicial branch, already having been high racketeering natures together, acts and methods recorded, actually recorded natures, uses of the media, whole bunch of uses of it with a whole bunch of other nations involved with this racketeering against their own people too, like Russia. Russia and America racketeering with the FBI, uses of Facebook for through right since before the Obama was even announced as going to run for president. They were already involved with database racketeering. They were already involved with database racketeering uncharged and needing our fathers waiting for us to have the free speech to demonstrate it since before they were born. This already had been entrenched. Divided Native Americans, made them blame the real cause of predicate acts on other things, others themselves. This is forced a reaction by nature itself. See, we have nature itself. Now, everyone lied about it already. All formal. Only like if you really allowed free speech protraction, only a sick predator could justify what is only can be revealed, forsaken. grouped, not just individual. See, we have the group, we have people pretending we're free, we're never free. They have sustained obligations to pretend we're free, but they have sustained everyone all racket roles pretending not to realize, pretending to realize, pretending not to really, we have abridged private industries, protraction of pseudo positive. That's involved with the line progressions. The standing line progression cover up natures and styles since semi-ancient times. You can't defend that and not value the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures blamed other things, others themselves. All we need is recorded. We have female judges. We have female police forms. We have female doctors. And they're using you, Alyssa Milano. We have female Congress people. Me too. They're not following mandated law. When you're not following mandated law, for example, you're using color. You're a standing line progression cover-up nature. In other words, what was entrenched here since before our founders' births all rolls with it. Even people trying to counter it because not by accident. They're blaming it on the wrong things. They're blaming it on others, and they're blaming it on themselves, and they're self-valuing it because of time treatments all way too fast, too slow. All knaves force all knaves. Different, blaming other things. So what we need, I'm speaking like this because I'm sick of it. I've asked right through administration since I was a kid. There's database solutions stacking against me, the same ones involved with racketeering with the principal sex offenders campus further, especially if it was made up, because that guy's involved with a whole bunch of racketeering, a whole bunch of men and women. Faked conversations with me, forging names now, switching names. Former director of the FBI down. Whole bunch of federal criminals associated with ones that were his co-defendants involved with the racketeering at each of the campuses I went to, houses next to them connected. That's how sick these people came after me. They took an animate all this. They took them to demonstrate how they're being used and using everyone. Psychology is delusions raw, originally and still. Roles with these organized crime methods, with databases, preventing people free speech and just attaching them to fake speech, fake behavior. See that sick woman with the glasses, with the tardive dyskinesia? She's delusions raw. She's involved with all kinds of racketeering with the networks and with doctors of psychology, and especially the ones with badges, and especially the various natures of courts involved with the racketeering and racketeering acts, methods, and natures are recorded involved with them. Whole wire crime methods used to maintain them like a gang. Stuck in there. These are the whole same people on off Fox Connecticut news locations involved racketeering with a whole bunch of nations, whole bunch of police forms, involved with a whole bunch of racketeering with evidences, natures of violence, identity thefts, identity fraud, identity racketeering. Way worse than that. With not just with color. This is against everyone. Because only one person with free speech clears everything, reveals the means to instant evolution. You see, awareness of and appreciation for the value of the beginning of the Old Testament and for the value of the beginning of the Quran recorded that and how they won't let here and there that have free speech. Recorded that and how it's because they're grouped nations as an identity that can't help be individual grouped and together. And but as now as negative value nature, so they're in a fake identity. This is the difference. See, to heal the entire world, the religions are talking about the same thing. Everyone's missing it though. So both Saudi Arabia and Iran, and all, of course, here, all Islamic leaders, all Christian leaders, all Jewish leaders missing. They're all roles, fake sides, only using that as a weapon, as fact cheaping nature styles. Pretended all. I can't stand that. But then when it comes time to follow mandated law, they're not so passionate. They're not so worthy of anything. You could see, demonstrated, in other words, that's maintained by this is an organized crime. This is worse than a war method, breaching organized crime, racketeering method that is involved with the patterns, with the various natures of shootings, tied exactly to and as the one that has the sustained shootings on sick areas that they left forsaken, and blaming on other things others themselves. We have recorded all kinds of Justice Department racketeering with psychology, with a whole bunch of nations, foreign and domestic, involved with a whole bunch of racketeering, natures of racketeering that have nothing to do with the undercover that's associated with programs like DACA, programs like associated with the Wethersfield Police Department through time. Intercampuses of each age involved with racketeering, originally and still. A racketeering method missed because how it's maintained self-value. On and off campuses of each age connected. Since I was a kid, people associated with UConn and Central Connecticut State University and Trinity College involved with all natures of child abuse, all natures of tricks where they make pretend they influence the teachers to pretend emotions and passions, because as their jobs dictate them to do criminally. In other words, this is exploiting types of experts, types of convictions with each of the sciences that are not by accident, worse than obfuscating the identity the sciences share. The instant means correlation we have with sequence true right between the sciences, because they have this identity shared, which is differentially value shared by them too. So we have, not just in a stagnant way, each individual nature or volume is simultaneously valued as grouped and, bonded species, not just in that stagnant way. In other words, group parted, which is not good, but it's good if you love the person. If you love someone, now you're grouped. That's good. Now your species bond. That's good, but it's good or bad in relationship to this identity of value progression that is tied to all things at once. Bach sings to campus dance with so stolen name since ancient times. Offensively, we have criminally foreign influence takes summary convictions on ancient history, on semi-ancient history, on modern history, all the way up, not by accident, specifically facilitated for fake positive for the racketeering roles of interbranch family members. Needed to highlight progressions originally and still already sustained for their value treatments of each identity. Every time they make a value treatment, they came through criminally foreign influenced campuses. Their delusions raw. They are recorded sequence racketeering predators. They are recorded identity racketeering predators, telling WFSB, Fox Connecticut News, to steal my identity, hiding behind whatever is all tied to the owners of the buildings in downtown Hartford, tied to their shared policing stand, sustained ways in relationship to the buildings and clubs and all the places on off Trinity, Yale College, all these colleges, distinctly and non-distinctly, distinctly sickly and distinctly insidiously, to keep how distinctly non-distinctly from being discerned. And this is also simultaneously overt and insidious. And with that, because there are already live progressions, cover up natures and styles from off these campuses, off these identity of the ground locations already valued, lies in the past, lies in databases that they're aware of, individually grouped in together, criminally forward influenced. Right through that. That's the racketeering method that keeps people against nations. Their job. Okay, I'm an expert on Russia. I'm going to go train against this. Those people are in collusion. Russia's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering with even sheriffs of the courts, interbranch, private too, police forms. Now, these are other motivations, natures, needs, and roles with gun crimes, dealerships of gun crimes. See, these are people with mental health racketeering, where they're worse than criminally incompetent with mental health, physical delusions, names racketeering, names. I mean, identity racketeering, identity theft. They have the phenomenon of being able to force someone into a triage for a mental evaluation, and they have all kinds of crime methods that know they can make trouble for the people and prevent them free speech to counter peacefully. So they're going to raise their voices. So they're going to push. They're not going to be able to arrest them without putting something on paper. They're going to get caught. They also arrest people with fake paper. But so what they do, they push someone into a triage. Now that you know they were in that location, now they're forging names, switching names, and with people that were involved, families in the background. Sometimes you know them. So if you don't know them, they're attaching you to fake conversations with them. They're putting little kids things in databases that are attached to little crime methods that make little grammar school kids have to hide life progressions, not for just for the reasons they pretend, tied to their shared policing of like CCSU, criminal justice racketeering, whole bunch of natures of racketeering. State police forms involve racketeering through administrations with forensics clinics, with mental health facilities associated also with forensics labs and investigators and investigations used to further originally instill their roles with racketeering. However, they're only defending jobs and not titles, identities. The FBI is recorded and involved, used as a misprision criminality, identity self-valued that way. All kinds of wire racketeering, mail racketeering, elections racketeering, pretending to be against that at the same time. All kinds of time racketeering with that. Time always too fast, too slow used against us. CNN has themselves insulated, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated their interbranch sources already had them in collusion with them. They're pretending not to realize. Interbranch racketeering, all privatized, especially prisons, especially medical racketeering. All kinds of natures of medical corruption is not even medical. Now, say everyone relies on type of experts, other people thinking for them. That nature of they use girls and women for mass sequence racketeering because their sensibilities want to speak through everyone else distinctly. And whereas now that's being exploited because we have men and women interbranch that don't have integrity. They're offensively pretending to perceive things. They're having things acted so they can pretend to film things and not realize, and really not realize, because the same way we have that mixed with it too. This is sickly distinctly, but it's also sickly not, so we don't see non-distinctly. Every modern nation has maintained self-valuing roles within as an identity of negative value nature progression in demonstration of our loss of sciences that we're valuing how we are a species, why we are a species, individual, grouped, and together, species, nature, volume, those three together, which is making more and more Earth's difference to the rest of space because it is the difference of a relationship to space's identity and its identity of relationship to all things at once and the value of that as its identity. We don't have to agree on the name of it. We're not supposed to agree on the name of it per Islam. But see, that's where we come. See, Islam is we have each age of fact treatment nature in every modern nation already taken through criminally foreign influence sciences, already taken to defense of pseudo-positive. Value nature system roles as identities in relationship to that as jobs, titles. You can't, the identity of negative value nature progression. Those are all value nature systems, tactical ulterior from the value progression system, perfect. So the Quran wants all our nations to understand. And like, for example, with Iran and Saudi Arabia, Iran's like the great mosque of Saudi Arabia. But no one not realizing because they're not putting the first part of the Quran in sequence, which they would be also. They're putting in the word wrongdoer. I mean, they're putting in the word unbeliever to keep it away from wrongdoer, wrongdoing, criminal insidiousness. See, that there are proofs of that. Not a lawyer. There are proofs. There are recorded racketeering involved with lawyers, fake sides of issues, and consciously exploiting, methodically exploiting recorded that and how there are fake sides of correlation nature, which is a trinity. They're sickly, distinctly, and non-distinctly having made each modern nation value trinity, fake middle, criminally foreign influenced, fake sides of correlation nature, how they maintain that vertically and horizontally, confessed, recorded, and demonstrated. All kinds of Justice Department racketeering, all kinds of it, all kinds of names stacking. People fake conversations with me, same people that had conversations to other, put illusions. Former director of the FBI down, whole bunch of people in the Britain Superior Court, men and women, attach me to fake conversations. They already need to pretend illusions now. They won't put paper since I was a kid. And they pretend other just by putting a charge and then admitting, confessing, and demonstrating that they may pretend to make mistakes. And then they let other people speak things into databases. They don't let you speak, and then they attach you to fake words, fake behavior, fake sequence, fake relationships to others. They've been attaching little kids to fake locations through time, little boys and girls with New Britain Superior Court. These are people involved with racketeering of a whole bunch of nations tied to New York City and Connecticut, interstates, all the way. He made it pray. So there were the people with California associated with a speech class I had at Central Connecticut State University, also involved with racketeering, with police forms, with 2 speech classes I had when I was in high school. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering with houses on and off the state judicial branch offices, and with houses on and people on and off the state prison offices. Racketeering acts and roles interstates. The proven sequence shift in the Ninth Circuit right before the Trade Center attack. The same people were already involved with racketeering with databases in my state. So they have badges, but they were raised to it through what they were preventing from being demonstrated, how they were involved already with racketeering, criminally foreign influence, fake sides. There's a Scalura family, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, involved with the investigators of Trade Center attack, with people leading up to it, with our Justice Department, Pentagon racketeering with other nations, other military, foreign and domestic, racketeering on and off each of the campuses of each age. This comes through former director of the FBI down. Other nations' directors recorded criminally foreign influence, delusions raw. You don't think they have obligations when they're talking about how we need values to demonstrate simultaneously how they left people forsaken? Instead, you don't think they have obligations to demonstrate how they're pretending wealth is not juxtaposed a whole bunch of nations influencing that? This is a system we never had an individual identity. And that's value, because the difference is value, because that's where you see what's going to cause real evolution. That's going to reveal what's not fake. This is all fake. Fake sides that want to fight. Oh, we're going to get over them on the litigation level, though. We're victims, every side. And so then that's all understood. Time 2 ways too fast. Not by accident. Each age of fact human nature they're playing. You're going to either be hurt and have a miserable life, or you're going to ignore all the racketeering with the databases tied to it. Because they're developing people to roles needing to hide life aggressions. with criminal uses of each age of fact should be nature recorded, effectively maintain misprision criminality interwoven. That's tied to how we have really motivated fake care and sick justice, sicker than the overt criminal enterprises recorded needing to hide the same finite, active, progressive sequence shifts and identity racketeering roles with them. Same little lies with them. Recorded. Facebook, all kinds of racketeering with overt criminal enterprises, New Britain Superior Court, Hartford courts, Middletown courts. Locations, their roles leading up to that, needing to have it done because they're criminal uses of locations. Whole bunch of people racketeering associated with the tactically pseudo-educated Hamilton guy, and people associated with New York City with plays, the sensibilities of what's his name, all those people. Get me a goddamn response, someone. Excuse my language. I didn't mean to say that to you, Miss Milano. Alyssa, please. These are more worse tied to the principal sex offenders campus than they forced with women judges, women states attorneys, forging names, switching names, judges' roles with that. These are people racketeering with Connecticut interbranch leading up to and in the Trade Center attack. Context again tied to a proven sequence shift. That's tied to the racketeering with more sequence shifts in Connecticut cases. Uses of their police forms to pretend to perceive things. Lying about, they attach my sources, ask me for help because interbranch police forms and military ones, and a whole bunch of people associated with that. Racketeering, Dean's family. There were influenced racketeering leading up to and in the Trade Center attack from Connecticut. In it through a Scalora family. Eric Burgess, I never saw him on the campus of CCSU in my life. They pressured him to make confessions to me, and then they're waiting because then they make trouble, and then they want to pretend to solve it because the New Britain Superior Court, other natures of courts, states attorneys were already involved racketeering, state police racketeering, East Hartford police forms and families already racketeering because they were already racketeering since I was a kid with people from my town, intercities with intelligence, what they call intelligence, and other nations involved racketeering together, databases. Everyone speaking through other, pretending not to understand. So WFSB attached me to fake conversations too. So these are a whole bunch of natures of crimes and then recorded effectively, attaching a whole bunch of families and people involved with roles with predicate acts, serious crimes. And needing to even valuing when I try to tell them on Facebook, they'll kick you off because they're already stuck. In other words, I went into court 3 times, more than 3 times. They made a whole bunch of confessions to me and my family members. See, when they do that, this is also tied to confessions, vertical, horizontal uses of that. These are people involved with religious spots, uses of that. The houses next to them involved with the houses next to the corners and next to the schools involved criminally. Next to medical campuses involved criminally. Next to fire departments, campuses involved criminally. I caught them dead cold from direct to the FBI down. Other agencies, their family members, women, sick degenerates. These are not legitimate here or there. See, that's value. Then they're going to fight about value treatments because they're shared policing here or there. Private agreements, you can't defend that and us at the same time. So, Alyssa Milano, please help because they're using you and they're using women judges and they're using Congress for racketeering against right through administrations. No, little girls can't even report sexual crimes because the women judges are roles with it. Because they're already forging names, switching names, roles with state's attorneys. They already know that these programs associated with this Weathersfield Police Department and people with this Vega family and with these Mendez police and with these Domain police and with this Rick Cianfaglione, and with his brother Mark Cianfaglione, and with his sister and his parents involved with prosecutors and people associated with the Brian Silva racketeering, intercities, racketeering with kids in Rocky Hill, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. But I never had a conversation with Brian Silver in my life. These are people who are attaching me to fake conversations and sequence shifting, forging names and switching names. They also do that. They're recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They have a Kerr family involved with them with racketeering, with locations next to churches, and with them with their with New Britain Superior Court through time racketeering with them all the way along with other houses all the way along Maple Street to Cromwell. A whole bunch of people associated with John Scully and with criminal justice cliques that were involved with overt criminal enterprises through time. Recorded, confessed racketeering associated with Italian criminal enterprises and with the stewardships of the witness protection program tied to that. The same hundreds of people facilitated crime acts rolls with the same house/s. One came in when I was in fourth grade to my school, but I never had a class with him. I had the phenomenon of a class of the exception as a middle school class in eighth grade, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with Justice Department racketeering, military racketeering, foreign influence, all kinds of natures of uses of the overt criminal enterprises from various different nations involved with this. Also as racketeering with a whole bunch of people associated with the buildings downtown Hartford, on and off Fox Connecticut News locations, on and off WFSB location. Now, it's distinctly and non-distinctly what demonstrates to me what a whole bunch of people with New Haven also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved WTNH involved with. Also, they're racketeering with Wethersfield Parks, on and off the schools with the firm. In other words, they're forcing sustained each age of fact treatment that you're hurt. And then they're going to exploit this because they're exploiting database relationships, shared policing, justice racketeering in Puerto Rico, justice racketeering in Mexico, justice racketeering in America, justice racketeering with the military, criminally foreign influenced originally and still, justice racketeering with the Coast Guard, criminally foreign influence originally still, justice racketeering with everything private tied to the interbranch, to the campuses, to the republic, this ancient republic, really revealed how it really is supposed to have free speech. So WFSB confessed, recorded, and demonstrated racketeering acts with Russians and with uses of Facebook and as election crime acts rolls. Also, there are criminal uses further of town offices in Wethersfield, also with the foreign and domestic criminal uses of the fire departments, criminal uses of Russia in their narratives with the election crimes, pretending to be against what they're for. Also pretending not to realize how we're in value nature systems that have obligations to demonstrate how we have forsaken. How that is motivated by people helping them as fake care and simultaneously as sick fake justice. That's why there are shootings on these areas. And that's why the men and women from my town that are further recorded natures of gun crimes and of drug crimes missed because of their roles with various natures of courts, sick, degenerate punk fakes, originally and still. That's science. I'm not making anything up there. We have their physical delusions to delineate here. And we have the election incapable of having an election. They all, Barack Obama, his time back. They all, Donald Trump, his time back. See, but they had them roles. So forgiveness is for this. We need mandated law. I'll show you how to have that. I mean, I'll show you what that means. Doesn't mean give up. It means follow mandated law. Don't pretend to be me too while you're not providing. All we need, if you're entertaining law where you have color entertained, then you're entertaining a style of fact treatment nature, premise quality treatment, sequence treatment that can't defend itself. Not by accident that hit its live progressions because it's already recorded in collusion with those prisons. recorded already criminally foreign influence with them, vertically and horizontal before they got there. They're racketeering on and off CCSU. A whole bunch of people from my town, on and off all these campuses, UConn, Trinity, used for predicate acts roles. They have no excuse. They need to pretend they perceive things, and that's recorded. So put them on paper. Put them on paper. Please, Miss Milano, I was talking, all right, not to you. I'm talking to everyone because you're being used as a weapon for child sex offenders right through administrations. And then everyone's, oh, well, these are experts. They're recorded. Delusion's raw. They're using you guys because then you guys are awes. You guys are shock and awes. Go in there, then you're going to defend your sensibilities. Everyone's speaking through other. You're not letting demonstrate their physical delusions. They're recorded racketeering. You don't see that in how we originally instilled. St. Nicholas is about this. I'll delineate their delusions from their sick souls right here, from their criminally foreign influenced sick natures and souls that are also recording consciously pretending other. Oh, these are good people. These are sick souls evaluating what really is keeping the stream of courts and streaming the courts in today. All kinds of nature hurt that never had to be. All kinds of needs for aggression that are prevented because of their little racketeering. No. So give me a goddamn response, someone. Make me beg little girls. CNN! I asked you nice. Come on. Now you gotta lie about my behavior. Right now, this is through years. See, child offenders, right, with the schools. We have women involved now, so they're preventing the women from being demonstrated because they're pretending women would be part of that. Put them on paper now. Have them pick one name and sequence into branch. They're done. And then they have the Connecticut. They have a Connecticut prosecutor investigating things. Connecticut's already racketeering. They have the state's attorney's office, the ones at Hartford, New Britain, they're already racketeering right through administrations, with Russians, with elections, with the town offices. Get down! I'll gather around. I'll show you how to heal their souls.